Feelings in Flannel is hosted by us. I'm Adam.
I'm Amelia.
And we are a father-daughter combo who are setting out to debate the merits of love, romance, humor, and faith in rom-coms new and old.
Listen and join us as we seek to name the top 5 rom-coms and discuss masculinity and femininity together and how that plays into role. Make sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends on social media.
Stay tuned. Okay. Welcome to episode 3 of Feelings in Flannel in season 2. Here we are. It's been a little while since we recorded.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous again because I haven't been in front of the camera or the microphone in quite some time.
It is interesting how you fall out of practice and then all of a sudden all you can think about is the camera, the mic, you know, how you're sitting, what you're doing. But who cares about any of that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been recording your other podcast, so you have more.
It helps.
Plus, you're better at faking it till you make it.
I'm not faking it.
I know. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that even if you have to, you're better at it than I am. I can't.
Yeah. Well, it does help that I record more than you do. I technically record twice as often. But, you know, my other podcast, Leading Adam, is professional focus. It's supposed to be kind of more serious. So in this case, I kind of get to be my more natural state.
I'm just always awkward, professional setting or not. So,
so episode 3, we've got another guest who is entering the arena, as we like to say. And what that means is that the guests that come on are bringing a movie they believe should be in our top 5. We're going to run it down. We're going to talk about the movie with them and then talk through the 6 criteria and the bonus criteria. And we'll be keeping track and score, of course. And if it scores higher than something that's currently in the top 5, then it will move into that spot. And then the others will move down. So it is possible that after season 2, we could have a completely new top 5 based on those who join us and bring their movies. So we never know. We never know what it's going to be, but I'm looking forward to it tonight. So why don't you introduce our guest? It's your friend. And so who we have?
Well, I brought Liz. I don't really remember how long we've been friends. It feels like forever, but I know it's really not been 2021. We met at the YMCA.
Oh yeah,
we were both employees, and she was my boss. And then really from day one, we bonded over Kenny G, and it took off from there. So yeah,
Great.
God and Kenny G. That's what we bonded over.
So then now.
So let me get this right. You bonded over Jesus?
Yep.
And Kenny G.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both who have great hair.
Yes. I assume.
I don't know.
I never thought about Jesus' hair, but yes, I get.
How could you not? It's magnificent.
Well,
I bet.
yeah. I mean, it has to be if he's God.
I think he used product.
No, I think it was natural.
I'm scared what type of products they used in those days.
Probably not healthy.
Yeah, but he was, all God too. So.
It was probably just
perfection.
really unfair. But yeah, so I brought Liz. You can tell us about yourself. Whatever you want to know.
So I am married. Recently married about a year ago, and I have a 4-month-old baby girl named Brinley. So that's been a fun new adventure. Parenthood, love it. Don't sleep anymore, but hey, it's fine.
Sleep's overrated.
Right. I mean, that just increased my coffee addiction, but I'm okay with that. It's fine.
I see you rocking the mom hat.
Yeah, my 2024 mom hat.
Was that a Christmas present?
I bought it for myself.
You bought it for yourself?
I did. I was like, I like that hat. Represent.
I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And so my husband's a police officer, and we're just
awesome
going at it. Yeah.
Okay. So what do? You were working at the Y. Do you still work at the Y?
So I don't. I actually left the Y and did like a whole EMT certification. So I am an EMT but currently stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And I'll enjoy that for as long as I can.
Most underrated job on the planet.
Yeah.
Stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, for that matter. Incredible. So you are full-time raising your 4-month-old?
4-month-old little girl.
So you're right. You ain't sleeping.
Oh, no.
Well.
Keeping the house secure,
It's good, though, because then when we have a guest who comes on sleep-deprived, chances of you bringing enough mental energy to win are pretty slim.
Yeah.
So, we'll just be able to just dominate this conversation. And we'll protect our top 5, of course, because that's really what's important.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear is my movies. Well, really, I'm just scared about You've Got Mail being kicked out. I think I will cry in that episode. But
yeah, well, it's good to have you, on.
you.
We have not met more than, I think, one time.
One time. Mm-hmm.
And you were not a mom then.
I was not. Young. I was young, wild, and free.
Yeah, young. Were you married then?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think I was even in a relationship.
No kidding.
I don't think so when you first met.
I work fast.
That's
He wasted no time.
God moves. He moves. And we just
guess.
Yeah.
So since the last time I saw you, you got a husband and a baby.
Yeah.
And a mom hat.
Yep. And a mom hat. And
Impressive.
I wear it nice. I'm proud of it.
That's awesome. Well, so tonight, you have willingly entered the arena to see if you can bring a movie that kind of readjusts the top 5. And I will tell you, I have been shocked. I don't know if you have. I have been absolutely blown away about how much passion there is around people who vehemently disagree with the number 1, which is Pitch Perfect. And I'm really been surprised by that. Have you been surprised by that?
I have not been surprised. I have been really pleased and really grateful. I put a lot of gratitude for all those people out there who are on my side, because so many people have come up to me and said, I don't know how Pitch Perfect beat You've Got Mail, but I don't agree with it. Or they'll say Pitch Perfect's not a rom-com, it's a musical or something like that. And I'm like, I try to say that same thing, but he was not to be reasoned with. So I still can't. You know what? Even though it's a number 2 spot, I consider that I've really won, because I've got our followers and we would be nothing without them. So really, I'm the winner.
All right. Well, that's fair. I'm curious, Liz, before we get into the conversation of the movie you brought, where do you stand on the conversation with Pitch Perfect? Are you passionately against it, indifferent, or are you for it?
So I have to admit, I've never watched You Got Mail.
But
I know.
Back
I know.
Up. Hold on. Let's take a minute and look at the camera of disappointment. Unbelievable.
I know.
I'm currently questioning our friendship.
I know. I
For
love
real,
Tom
you've
Hanks.
never seen You've Got Mail.
No.
How have you missed that? It's on like 76 times a year.
I know, but I've seen like every other Tom Hanks movie. But for some reason, this one just is.
I just feel like I failed you.
I think you have. That's the real problem, not me.
Yeah, I'm the problem. This now turns into a relationship therapy.
Okay. So you've never seen You've Got Mail, but have you seen Pitch Perfect?
I have. And
Solid.
I actually do really like that movie. I think it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have put it in the rom-com, like, that section of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see where it is considered rom-com just because it does have like some mixed in like romance here and there. Mm-hmm. But I think I would have put it more on like the musical, like comedy section.
Sure.
But I do really like the movie, so
yeah,
I'm kind of for that. But
so you're moderately for it, but more indifferent.
More indifferent because I feel like I can't properly judge
That's
because I
fair.
haven't seen the other movie.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, I personally like to go back and remind the listener that the qualifying element for a movie in the top 5 is and only does it search in a search engine, Google if you choose, as a romantic comedy, and in this case, Pitch Perfect does. Therefore, all of those arguments are garbage to the listener. But tonight, it's not about Pitch Perfect. In fact, it's not about the top 5 really at all until we have a chance to hear what movie you've brought. Of course, we already know, but why don't you share the listener, what movie are you bringing into the arena tonight?
So I'm bringing The Wedding Planner. And it has Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey. I think it's like a 2004 movie, I believe.
Sounds right.
Yeah. And so, fun fact though, I would say my all-time favorite is 27 Dresses.
Okay.
But Amelia took that one, so I had to, find another one. But I do love The Wedding Planner.
Okay.
It's up there.
So that's what we're talking about tonight. Yeah. The Wedding Planner. We'll run down through the criteria and see how it scores. But let's talk about the movie first. Why don't you kick us off, and then we'll just ask questions or chime in, I guess, to discuss the movie. That way we have a good rundown of really what the movie is about. So tell us what The Wedding Planner is all about.
Yeah, so it's about a wedding planner. And she's kind of all business and has never really fallen in love. And then one day she, kind of gets stuck in the middle of the road. Her heel is stuck in the ground, and she's about ready to get kind of hit until, this guy, jumps in front of her and saves her. And she, of course, falls head over heels for this guy who seems so kind, and I believe he's pediatric doctor, I believe. And so she, they go on a date, and so she assumes this all is going great. She's never found someone she loves, and finally she found a good quality guy. And then lo and behold, this guy is actually engaged to someone else. And it so happens to be a wedding that she's been asked to plan.
Oh, even worse.
So, boom.
Ouch.
So it kind of goes back and forth with, she likes him, and you can kind of tell in the movie that he starts to actually like her, but he's kind of in between because he's technically engaged. So that's kind of the gist of the movie, and, okay. It ends great. I don't want to spoil it, but it ends great. But yeah.
No, we spoil movies all the time. We'll spoil it before this is over.
Okay.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, hopefully
if you haven't watched The Wedding Planner and you've heard it announced, pause, go watch it, and then come back and finish this episode. But what do you think? We've watched it, obviously. Anything to add about the movie before we get into the criteria? That was a pretty good description, Liz. Thank you.
Well, one, you're better at summarizing movies than I am. I give a scene-by-scene, play-by-play of the whole entire movie, and I'm really bad. I've always been really bad at summarizing, like, main plot points. So that was perfect. And I've seen this movie. It's not one that I've watched over and over and over again, like most of my own top 5 or even our combined top 5, but I've seen it more than once. And it almost made my top 5, but then a few others beat it out. I really like it. I'm not a huge Jennifer Lopez person. That's The Wedding Planner is the only J-Lo movie that I actually really like. And her and Matthew McConaughey blend really well in that movie.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll chime in here. I enjoyed the movie. I was entertained by it. And if you've watched any of these episodes, that's all I really ask for, is to be entertained. There's some elements it has working for it, and then some I think that it has working against it before we get to the criteria. But I believe it's called a meet cute. That's pretty much how it kicks off, right? That's the scene where her heel gets stuck in a manhole cover in the middle of the street, and he rescues her. And so you have this kind of like damsel in distress kind of thing. And that part, I think, kicking out of the movie, just me, like man's perspective, it kicks off pretty solid.
Oh, yeah.
And then, if you remember the scene, the camera kind of is panning back. He's more or less had shielded her. They had fallen to the ground together. It's panning back, and then he comes into scene. This is when we finally see this Matthew McConaughey, and he looks awful in this movie. Awful. He's got like bleach blonde hair from the beginning. I was just like, oh, I'm out on that right there. So That's one of the things to me as working against it is the fact that he looks like a boy bander.
Yeah.
But
It just doesn't hit for the guys.
The
I know,
glasses
those
help.
round glasses, the little oval glasses. I'm a fan.
Yeah. It just, you can forget about the hair for a
Just
little
look at
bit.
those glasses.
And his smile.
What? What is it about the glasses? I gotta know.
We're trying to help him out here. He has bad hair, so give
I
him
don't
something.
know. For some reason, because same in, what movie is that? Notting Hill, I think. Hugh Grant has glasses on. And
True.
I don't know. It just, sometimes it works for some guys and sometimes it really doesn't. But
Do you think I should get some round wireframe
No.
glasses?
I don't think it would.
Why?
The ones you have are good. But
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. Maybe that time period, like the early 2000s, it's just kind of, they got the dress shirt and maybe the jeans tucked in with glasses. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Well, those were my first pair of glasses. I had red wire glasses, oval.
Okay.
My dad went with me to buy those. My dad.
Was it his pick?
Yeah.
Dang.
I like the
Come on,
red.
Dan.
I know.
like the red.
Never again. Never again. My mom went with me after that.
Okay, so let's talk criteria. We about the 15-minute mark. We got plenty of time left. But let's get into the criteria. And why don't we kick it off with... Want to do mine or yours first?
Doesn't matter. We could also alternate.
Yeah, let's alternate. That's a good call. So you're aware of the criteria. When you watched the movie, did you kind of score it yourself as you were working through it? Or is this
Yeah.
all going to be fresh and live?
This will be all nice and live. But my mom kind of I was trying to watch it with that intention of scoring it a little bit more, being more intentional watching it. My mom was with me and she actually pointed out a few things like the music that I wasn't really paying attention to. She's like, oh, I love the music. It's so
Okay.
fun. And I was like, oh, that's one of the points. Hey, you're right.
I love this.
Yeah.
We get the parents participating, which consequently, I know your father
Yeah.
and have not seen him for years. And if you remember me, I'm sorry.
Dang.
We'll just leave it at that. For the audience, though, Liz's dad was one of my teachers when I was in high school. So I haven't seen him in a long time. But thank you guys for watching and participating. Let's see how this goes. So let's alternate. I'll go first. For me, right out of the gate, there has to be a redeeming quality in one of the characters. And as defined throughout season 1, that redemptive quality is really more of an internal redemption. Right? How do you, in the way you see yourself or the way that you see a people group or others, right? And so sometimes it's easier to understand by an example. So we look at Pretty Woman. We've used it over and over again. His view of street workers changes because he sees a heart of gold, and her view of the high society changes because she meets someone with good character or whatever. So that kind of thing. So let's start there. Redeeming quality in the wedding planner. What do you think? Does it get a point? We do half points. We did quarter points actually too with our last guest. So you could go as low as 0 or as high as 1 here. What are we thinking?
Redemptive qualities. I'm not sure. I feel like none of the characters really. Amelia, feel free to chime in. I can't think of anything that's been that was super.
Well, I know you said before, it doesn't stick out, or if you have to really think about it, probably not. I don't remember. I think, more than anything, they just are petty because they're mad at each other. Because she's like, you lied to me and you're cheating on me with your fiance. And he's like, we didn't do anything. But really, there's not really, I can't think of a big, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to find it myself, and I think it does kind of fall back to that. She was a workaholic, but her view of people wasn't poor. She just was all about her career and what she was doing. And he seemed to be pretty solid about people in general from the beginning. Even her family, his fiance's family, didn't seem to be overly judgmental.
No.
Right? So there almost really wasn't.
No, I don't think so.
Not particularly.
I'm sorry, Liz, but that's not a good start.
No, man, I'm just going to go.
Some of mine, I think, will redeem me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
I think some of mine will help because I feel like I wonder if I made my criteria too easy sometimes because I feel like every rom-com has my criteria. But I think I'll go with my first one, which is Giddy and Girly. So, like, it gives you, like, the heart squeeze. Like, when you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is so cute. kind of a thing. Like, it just is a cute. It's usually maybe a moment between them or just certain things. Like, for example, I mean, I'll kind of give one. It meets this for me, but, like, when he saves her. To me, that's a heart squeeze. Because I like the damsel in distress. That's not really popular nowadays in society's world, but, hey. I love it.
All right. So other heart squeeze moments. Let's talk them down because this could score a point here.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the moment when they are, I think, watching an outside movie in a park. And essentially, Jennifer Lopez, what was her name in the movie? I can't remember what her name was. I'll just say Jennifer Lopez or J-Lo. Her friend kind of ditched them. Like, it was supposed to be like a 3, like they meet there and like talk about like something, and then her friend's like, hey, see ya. She kind of planned it and just left them on this date. And, you know, they're just watching this outside movie, and I don't know, their conversations are sweet, and then it starts to rain, I think. So I think that part is just kind of cute, like that, you know, unexpected date that they weren't planning.
Classic. You know, the rain is a classic rom-com.
And they dance.
Absolutely.
The
They do
and they
dance.
were dancing.
Yeah.
Mary. Her name's Mary. And his name's Steve.
Steve. I like it.
Okay.
So I think that part really got me. I think that was one of my favorite parts in the movie. So, I don't know. Yeah.
I think kind of back to that same set of the movie, right? The little bench in the trees. I don't know if it was a bench or a log.
A branch.
Yeah, a branch, whatever it was. It kind of circles back to that spot.
The very end.
At the end. And that's a pretty decent, I'm sorry. Yeah. It was one of those.
What do you mean you can't? You never had one before?
I've never felt one. I've observed you having them, which is interesting.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
if you ever
physical
watch
reaction.
a movie with her, I know you guys watch movies occasionally.
Yeah.
When you feel it, look to her quickly before she realizes you're looking. It's the most ridiculous thing to see.
What were we watching? I can't remember what we were watching. It happened, and it was a TV show. Chuck. It was Chuck. They have a moment, and I get lost in it. I just am like not even in the room anymore if it's done right. And I saw him look over at me, so I was like, it's a physical reaction.
I have seen that face before.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't help it. But yeah.
Well, I think that was a good one there at the end for Heart Squeeze. So I think we've got that one. That's pretty solid, right? So it's got a point there. Let's come back to my criteria. One of the others is one of the characters is out of place. I like it when there's a character who just doesn't quite fit in. Maybe they're clumsy or dorky or whatever, and they kind of don't fit, but someone keeps inviting them in, making them feel like they belong. And so, belonging's another way. So I'm trying to think down through the movie in this context. I'm not quite grabbing it. So anyone disagree? We don't need to spend a ton of time if you've got one.
There's some quirky characters, but I wouldn't say nothing that,
Yeah, like the dude from Italy.
Yep.
Yeah, he was quirky for sure, but that's kind of like in Just Go With It. Yeah. His friend was quirky, but it really had nothing to do with belonging. Certainly had nothing to do with the romance. So no point for out of place. Okay, so we've got one. That was my second of three. What do you want to do next?
My second one is the shift, like where it's usually you can see it. It clearly their feelings for each other are like they change, essentially. So it might be how they look at each other, or they have a moment where you're just like, oh yeah, now they're like, oh, I'm seeing you a little bit differently now.
I'm trying to remember. Funny enough, I just rewatched it yesterday, but I forget everything.
That's because you're sleep deprived.
Yeah.
It's Brinley's fault.
I told you this would help us win.
I really think that's it. So that's why I'm like, Amelia, or, just like chime in. I do remember a part where Steve, when he, I think, realizes, like, I, shouldn't be marrying this person. And it was at their wedding. Like, I think he was like, hey, let's go take a walk to his fiance, like moments before they walked down the aisle. And he was like, let's go take a walk. And essentially he, pretty much sends her on her way. And I think that's when he realizes that Mary is potentially getting married in a courthouse. And, so
right.
There's that, I think that whole moment where I think that's when they really realize, like, wow, we're about ready to make a terrible decision.
It's interesting. I hadn't thought about this. The shift actually happened. A lot of times when you describe the shift that you outlined, it happens with them both on screen at the same time, together. The case you're making is that there's a shift in them. It's like an internal thing. And it happens in them respectively.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's different.
Well, when we watch it, I think I gave it a half point. When we watch it, we were kind of scoring it. And I gave it a half point because I was looking at their characters. Because from the moment they meet, there's the chemistry. Yeah. And they have this cute date and they have it. And, they start hating each other because she's like, oh my gosh, really? You're the fiance of the wedding I'm planning. And he's kind of, and then he finds out she's engaged, and so he's like, oh wow, you're gonna throw stones. So for them, I'm like, it's there because when he brings her back to the apartment after she's drunk, they kind of have that moment, and he confesses to her, like, I don't know you, like, I don't know your I don't know your middle name, I don't know this about you, but I know all these other things. And she kind of shuts him down. But I like that because it's like, it's a shift between him and his and Fran, because they both kind of realize, what are we doing? We don't even want to get married.
The movie, that's true. I think I would have walked away not liking the movie if Fran, is that her name?
Yeah.
Didn't also come to an awareness on her own that I don't want to be married either. Because then it just makes Steve a total douche, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can say that, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, we just did.
He can bleep it. Bleep.
Yeah, there we go. More bleeps. That would be wrong. I don't think I would enjoy that at all. When we watched this, you're right, we didn't catch that. This is why it's good to have a guest on who really believes in the movie, because that's a half point that, it was a half point.
I'm willing to give it a full point.
Willing to give it a full point. From the mouth of the one who loves RomComs, I won't fight it.
Because I like it because it gives me new perspective. Because I am, one track minded. But I really did like that part about the movie on how, at first she was like, really, you're dumping me on the wedding day? But he walked her through it, and she's like, how did we let it get this far? And so, I like how they have the maturity to be like, we're not right for each other. And then he's like, no, I got to go get the girl. And with the dad, she was going to marry that guy because she's like, to make her dad happy. And her whole family was like, oh, thank God, we don't want you to marry. So it's a full point for me.
Okay, so now we're out of 4 criteria. We have 2, right? 2 points. So let's hit these last 2. We've still got about 5 minutes. But the last 2, my last one is, my mind just went blank.
Patient pursuit.
Patient pursuit. Yeah, a patient pursuit or creative pursuit. I don't see it in this because it was like the movie comes out of a bang, right? They're kind of together. There's little pursuit. There is some patience through the movie with each other and their trying to work through their feelings and trying to reconcile what's happening here, and a willingness to be patient and seek to understand, maybe, because as soon as she found out he was engaged, she could have just said, I'm out. But there was a patience there to understand and try to better see what was going on. So I'm willing to allow some pointage here, but I can't go on a full on this one. It doesn't hit for me. What do you guys think?
I think you were spot on with what you said. Like, there's not really a seeking to pursue each other. Like you said, it's more about that patience of waiting for them to realize that I actually do like you and not who I'm with.
Yeah.
So I don't think there really is a pursuing act happening.
Yeah, the essence of this movie is almost challenging how we sometimes go with what society, our families, the expectations around us, instead of pausing to ask, what do I really want? That seems to be kind of the message, the essence of this love story, not a pursuit of someone. So what is the sixth criteria here? We've got 2 of 5. What is your last one?
My last one is, it's really similar to the Giddy and Girly, but this one's like cute moments that they have, but specifically that the viewer is like, oh, they know each other. So I'm trying to think of an example. Like in
the fireplace scene, right?
The fireplace scene?
In their fireplace there when she was...
Yeah. Like, from the example I was going to go is like in While You Were Sleeping, when he gives her the snow globe with Florence in it because he knows she always wanted to go. Things like that, where it's like, I see you. And then moments like that. It's kind of the last one. It's similar because they give me a heart squeeze too. But that is the one I was thinking of with because he says something like... and
then at the end, I can't remember when he shows up at the end.
Yeah.
What is the moment? I remember thinking, that definitely ticks that box, but I can't remember what it was now.
The M&Ms, the brown one.
That's where I went immediately, because in the very beginning, when they were at the park, they were talking about M&Ms, where he only likes the brown ones because, all that food coloring type of thing. And then at the end, I think she was throwing out the colored ones and was only eating, and he recognized that. So that part is immediately what came to mind, was the M&Ms part. And I think that's when he realized, oh, she does like me or pay attention to what I like. And
and even that, the fact that he knew where she was, because they were like, we don't know, she's not here though. And he was like, I know where she's at, because that was her spot. And then the one you're thinking of is she basically is like, he's like, I should go. And she's like, okay. Then he comes back. And that's when he's like, I don't know your middle name. I don't know if you had glasses and something like that. And he's like, but I know it's a little bit unrealistic, but it's okay because it's beautiful. Because he's like, I know every curve of your face or every fleck of gold in your eyes, stuff like that. I mean, that's a major heart squeeze, but it's also meets that box. So to me, that's a full point. I think so.
Well, so here we are, and we have 3. We scored 3, and so the bonus isn't needed, mostly because and this movie does have a good soundtrack. I wouldn't say it hits for me necessarily, but it does have a good soundtrack. Enhances the movie, but in this case, 3, unfortunately, Liz, doesn't pull it ahead of anything in the top 5. That's too bad. But I will say, it was a good movie. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is all you need.
Yeah.
So, anything to add before we wrap?
Not particularly. I know it's more of my speed kind of a movie. Like, it's more rom than com.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's funny parts, but it's really just romantic, which is why I like it.
Yeah. And that's when it's hard for the guys.
Yeah.
Did you make your husband watch it with you?
Oh no, we have very completely different movie genres.
Have him on.
So I just watch it by myself, or I invite Amelia over, and we have heart squeezes together.
There you go.
That's why I can't believe I never brought up You've Got Mail.
I know.
I just assume everyone has
just
seen.
slacking.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well, now you know. Now I guarantee you that's what's happening next. You guys are going to watch You Got Mail together.
Are you available this weekend?
Yeah.
Liz, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
This was good. Thanks for bringing that movie. Sorry you didn't make the top 5.
Hey, I got a few points. That's what matters.
You got a few points, and you won some points we weren't going to give you. So good job.
Yes.
All right.
Matters.